Springs heads up. This is going to be on your doorstep in a matter of minutes. We'll continue to watch how this line kind of strengthens right now. Kind of curious, let's get a quick track on some hail here, and we'll go a little bit further south where that severe thunderstorm warning is currently. And if we look at the hail on this, let's see here. Again, we had hail cross Interstate 49 moments ago. And well, we can basically say it's at that little area right there along Interstate 49 between about Fayetteville and Springdale. So just north of the Fulbright Expressway and kind of just south of Sunset, although Sunset and US 412 could be getting hit on some of that hail right now. This warning is going to be continuing for another half an hour as it continues to push its way eastward and southeastward. Let's get back to radar right now and kind of see where those heaviest, basically kind of the heaviest darker reds, almost the pinks. That's kind of where that hail core is essentially, and it's going to be moving its way northeastward through time. Let's kind of continue to go southward throughout the line and talk about who else is seeing some of these showers and thunderstorms. Again, to reiterate, we just have one severe thunderstorm warning right now as we speak. It's about 1:45 on your Sunday afternoon. We'll kind of continue to zoom out. You got to see some of those showers that just passed through Winslow right now. We'll focus in a little bit further south here into parts of the River Valley. Nothing too crazy happening, and that's good news. Hopefully that continues to be the case. Of course, we'll watch this little cell in northern Lafleur County and even getting into parts of western Lafleur County and Podo, Heavener, that cell just north of Spiro there. So let's kind of zoom in a little bit closer. It's not severe right now, so that's good, but we'll just kind of take a look and see what's going on here with that cell. Again, this is just north of Bocoshi here, just east of the reservoir, kind of going right over the Arkansas River. Fort Smith, you might be seeing some dark clouds off to your west. It's not severe. We don't have to worry about it right now. We're still going to watch it, though, as we work our way throughout the next half an hour to an hour. We'll zoom out a little bit more here to kind of get a quick check here. And overall, I'm not sure if we've had, I heard Joshua and Scott talking. Have we had a watch issue? Was that outside of our region? Okay, so Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service are in talks right now whether they want to issue a watch kind of downstream, especially for our eastern counties, especially for in Arkansas. Not so much our Oklahoma counties because most of this is probably past you. I know we still have to watch, Sequoia and Lafleur County, but once these little cells kind of, work their way eastward and work your way out of here, it's going to be more of a bigger issue for, say, especially central Arkansas, north central Arkansas. We'll still, of course, watch Johnson, Scott, Logan County, of course, as those cells start to work their way eastward there. We'll zoom in a little bit closer to that severe thunderstorm warning right now. That's impacting north of Fayetteville and kind of right around that US 412 corridor. We had hail just move over Interstate 49, basically reports of nickel to quarter-sized hail. Kind of just check in, our own Joshua Weisel sent some to the National Weather Service. We had nickel-sized hail here at the station, so keep in mind, quarter-sized hail is about 1 inch in diameter. Nickel is just slightly smaller than that, but still, that's going to be potentially impacting you, especially if you're driving. You probably don't want to be driving in. Of course, if you do have to, drive in heavy rain and hail like this, obviously take it easy out there on the roads. So basically, this the storm's kind of moving into northeastern Washington County, southeastern Benton County right now. Hobbs State Park getting downpours right now. War Eagle, this severe thunderstorm warning, it's warned for up to quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So let's get another quick track at this. I believe this is still moving at 45 miles an hour, so we'll continue that trajectory unless it has changed. But we're going to do ahead. We're going to go ahead and do 45 here. Scott has confirmed that track. Again, it's impacting Hobbs State Park, so we'll kind of draw the line a little bit kind of out and ahead of it. And we'll go something kind of like this. And then we'll drag this out a little bit to our east-northeast, where that's pretty much the trajectory of this. So Goshen, 149, basically a minute or two. It's pretty much going to be right on our doorstep. You're probably hearing the thunder and lightning out there. Hinesville, it's going to be at 1:57 p.m. And then Hartwell, 2:05. Alabama, 2:13. And then if this holds together, which it probably will. Now the question is it going to be severe warn? It's going to be Cabinal, if I pronounce that right. But yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about here as that line of thunderstorms pushes its way eastward. Just one warning as of now. And I'm going to check the National Weather Service here. They're just going to continue the severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Benton and northeastern Washington counties there. Right now, we don't have any watches in place. We'll still kind of monitor that to see what happens. I think the best possibility of who would see a watch would probably be our far eastern and our far southeastern counties, as this line of storms is probably going to get its act together a little bit more as we kind of continue to go throughout the rest of your Sunday afternoon. So let's kind of zoom out. Let's get a kind of home base view and what we're seeing out there right now. Basically, our most strongest complex of storms is northern Washington County and Benton County, impacting western Carroll County, and then, of course, this is going to be in Madison County in probably just a matter of minutes. So that's our one severe cell right now. We'll go a little bit further south. We're not seeing a whole lot in southern Washington County. We had these line of showers that kind of moved through Winslow. We'll zoom in a little bit closer here in just a few seconds. And then right now the river valley is largely quiet, but no, it's just a couple cells off to our west that we're still watching. Those are going to be tracking their way eastward. If the cold front, if I can draw the cold front here, basically it's pretty much in almost a north to south oriented line. I'll kind of draw it roughly. Oh wow, that was an awful line. But essentially the cold front is basically from about Bella Vista, kind of slice that line all the way through northern Adair County and then just west of Sallisaw, probably just east or around McAllister. That's basically where the cold front is. Once that front pushes through, it's going to push all of these storms to our east, and then any severe threat for us would be over. So that's the good news with a system like this. Cold front pushes these storms out, and it's just kind of a quick little window of seeing those strong to severe thunderstorms. So that's what we're watching out there right now. Again, we're seeing lots of lightning with that northern storm right around Springdale and Rogers. Let's get a more closer track at what we're seeing out there. Let's kind of focus in on some of the hail as well. If I can get, there we go. All right, so we'll focus in. Also, okay, we're still at the line, so that's great. Again, this is my first time kind of doing the hand tracking, so bear with me. It takes some getting used to. You got to have your hand hover over the right thing, and then you got to click it. So here we go. If it wants to work. All right, there we go. All right, here we go. Third time's a charm. All right, let's zoom in a little bit closer here to that northern cell storm. And we'll talk about the hail, but also the winds with it. Let's just look at velocity first. I mean, we talked about hail earlier, but let's look at velocity. And just in case, kind of to show us how strong the winds are with the system. It's warned for 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. I mean, regardless, it's been a windy day, and it's going to continue to be a windy day for the rest of your Sunday. So let's just look at velocity. We're not going to necessarily look at storm relative velocity because we're not really concerned with rotation or anything like this. But sometimes we just look at velocity in general. It basically just means speed and direction in terms of what the radar site we're looking at. And you kind of see, I mean, obviously you want to see brighter colors for the strongest winds. We're not seeing anything, too crazy out there, although if we can kind of sample these velocities, maybe just see just east of Springdale where there's a little bit brighter red. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, we're not really seeing very strong winds. I think hail would probably be our main threat with this as of now. So let's kind of look at hail real quick and see kind of where our hail core is. And we'll zoom in a little bit closer to that hail core as well and see where it was. It was basically just east of 49 just a few moments ago, so we'll zoom in. It almost actually looks like we'll zoom in a bit closer here. Almost looks like the hail core has maybe shrunk a little bit. Doesn't mean there's zero hail with this. There's probably still hail with this cell, but you zoom in a little bit closer and where the greatest probability of seeing that hail, it's right in the center of that severe thunderstorm warning. So US 412, if you're east of Springdale, probably getting some at least nickel-sized hail. Again, we had nickel-sized hail at the station a little bit earlier, probably about 10 minutes ago that we kind of sent that report in. So we did have hail with that system. Again, our station is roughly right here, kind of by the NWA Mall in the Johnson area. That's our hail core right now. Earlier, so we're in the dark gray hail detector. If you kind of look at the legend on the top, probably several minutes ago, we saw, I guess, a shade above that. So it looks like our hail might be potentially a little bit smaller. Again, still going to be having some hail with this system. Let's get back to radar reflectivity, what a lot of folks are used to seeing out there. And again, that bulk of that storm is east of 49. So Springdale, the Mall, Fayetteville, seeing a little bit lighter rain, at least, especially if you're in Springdale, and even up to Lowell. We're seeing lighter rain. The heaviest rain is off to our north and east. We'll zoom in a little bit. We'll zoom out a little bit out further and talk about that storm a little bit more here. And let's kind of shift gears here. So yeah, Hinesville, we're going to be getting in on this here in about 5 to 10 minutes. Again, this is moving east at 45 miles an hour. So we're looking at Hobbs State Park, getting nailed right now with some heavy rain, thunder, lightning. You're typical thunderstorm characteristics right now. This is right over Beaver Lake. Obviously not a great day to be on the lake. Yesterday might have been, but today maybe not so much with some of those showers and storms. Eureka Springs getting in on some of that rain. It's not severe, probably just some moderate downpours that we're talking about right now. Here's Madison County. We got Carroll County to our north, and this cell is about to enter into northern Madison County. So we'll see if that severe thunderstorm warning does get extended. Right now it's until about 2:15, so about 20 more minutes that this severe thunderstorm warning continues. We'll see if we extend it into Madison County and Carroll County. I'm kind of looking at my monitor here to the side just to see if the National Weather Service is maybe talking about if the storm is strengthening, if it's weakening, and basically kind of what we're seeing out there. We'll zoom out a little bit more here. Kind of tackle that severe thunderstorm warning again. It has mainly hail with this. The winds weren't too strong necessarily that we kind of looked at, but I would still stay away from windows, and I probably wouldn't get caught outdoors. Hail doesn't feel good to get hit outside with, obviously. Here we're in Madison County between Huntsville, St. Paul, that line of showers. It's non-severe. That's trekking its way eastward. And then we'll go a little bit further south as well. We'll zoom out, continue to zoom out here. Let's focus on some of these cells there in LaFleur and Sequoia County. We'll zoom in a bit more here. And all right, here we go. All right, so we got Fort Smith here. Again, River Valley is relatively quiet right now. And that's good news. We don't really want to have to talk about a lot of action to talk about. We got this thin line of showers and storms. Pretty much the cold front is just behind this. It's shoving all these showers and storms off to our east. So we'll watch it here in about Heavener, Podo. This line's going to be moving its way eastward, northeastward through time. It's not severe. There's not even a special weather statement. When I say special weather statement, basically just means it's one step below severe thunderstorm criteria. So sometimes the National Weather Service sees a storm, they'll issue a special weather statement. They say, hey, this might have dime or nickel-sized hail or maybe 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts, but it's not enough to maybe cause some tree damage or maybe cause dents to any roofs or cars. That's kind of what a special weather statement is. This does not have that at the moment. We'll certainly watch it though. Let's kind of get a home base view and what we're seeing out there. As of now, we just have one severe thunderstorm warning, and that is currently at the Washington and Benton County line. So it's east of Springdale now. It's pretty much northeast of Fayetteville as well, and this is going to be moving in to far northern Madison County by Withrow Springs State Park. Let's zoom in a little bit closer and kind of talk about what we're seeing here with this severe warning cell. Okay. So meteorologist Scott Covert telling me that this severe thunderstorm warning will most likely be expired and be replaced by a special weather statement, like I just highlighted. So a special weather statement, again, pretty much one step below severe criteria. So it's maybe not producing 55, 60 mile an hour wind gust or maybe quarter-sized hail, but it still could produce 40, 50 mile an hour wind gust, dime, nickel-sized hail. And again, that's probably not the best idea to be outside. That's what we always tell people, and we always like to preach. Stay away from windows, especially when there's a severe thunderstorm warning. And if this is set to expire here momentarily, then we're going to be seeing that kind of get canceled off Doppler radar. So again, as long as this is still here, we're still going to be talking about it. Again, showers, thunderstorms. Some people can have storm anxiety. We don't have any tornado warnings. We don't really have any cells that we're watching closely for rotation at this point. That's good. Hopefully that continues to be the case. But that line of showers and storms is going to continue to strengthen as it works its way into central, north central Arkansas. That's where the greatest severe weather risk technically is. And we'll talk about that here in just a few seconds. We'll kind of do a little quick overview. I kind of want to talk about, we'll just talk about the hail real quick and just kind of see. So if you've been with us the last 10, 20 minutes, we've kind of noticed the hail core kind of shrink the last, 20 minutes. Earlier by about, 130, 140, our hail core was pretty much right in this vicinity here. Let's get the marker. Let's do some drawing on the board here. So earlier about 130, 135 as I'm looking at the clock, the hail core was pretty much right in this general vicinity. It's my best depiction of a circle/oval, but that was basically where the hail core was. It hit our station. We had nickel-sized hail. Joshua Weisel actually got some pictures, and he sent that into the Weather Service. And then we continue to see that push its way eastward here. Then we saw a little bit of hail kind of cross US 412. And then now, with the latest radar update, at least that it's detecting hail, it's very small, and it's just north of US 412, kind of by War Eagle area. But again, that's really small hail. So the hail's come down with the storm. That's good news, and we certainly want to see that. Let's get back to a radar reflectivity, what a lot of people are probably used to seeing instead of just a kind of a hail detector map. All right, so here we go. Let's get back to radar. Oh. And here we go. We'll zoom in a little bit further. This is going to be on Hinesville here. Hinesville's probably getting some light rain right now. It's just after almost about 2 p.m. on your Sunday afternoon. Just one severe thunderstorm warning. So if we're not talking about you, that's good news. It means you're not probably seeing a strong to severe thunderstorm. We'll zoom out here a little bit closer. And basically the heaviest core of this storm, essentially, right now, is at the intersections of Benton, Washington, northwestern Madison County. That's basically where the strongest, I guess, core of the storm is. But you see the severe thunderstorm warning, this yellow, orange shade polygon here that kind of continues for Fayetteville, Springdale. We're done with this cell. It's off to our east, so that's good. And as Scott mentioned, told me earlier, this is set to expire here, and it's going to be replaced by a special weather statement. So we're going to continue to watch that, but really the heaviest core of this, and we'll zoom in a little bit closer, kind of get a closer look at Hobbs State Park. Yeah, this is pretty much where it's at. I mean, by Creech to Clear Point, like I said, Hobbs State Park, Pine Top, we got Beaver Lake. These are what kind of all these jagged lines are. It's the outline of Beaver Lake right now. So Beaver Lake getting hammered with some of that heavy rain and some of that lightning and thunder out there. And again, there's not a whole lot to talk about, and that's good. I'm not complaining by any means. That's absolutely what I want. I don't want to have to talk about a lot of things, whether it's severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings. We don't have any tornado warnings. That's good. Let's kind of just do a quick recap on the severe weather zone here. If we kind of look.
Hey, Noah.
Yes, Scott.
If I could take over just for 1 second,
Absolutely.
give you a chance to rest your voice there.
Yes.
Great work tracking that severe thunderstorm warning. I want to show you something. The Weather Service has issued a tornado watch for Johnson, Logan, and Scott counties. That watch is going to also include a good majority of the River Valley. And I know, okay, there it is. It just came in real time. That watch also includes Carroll, Washington, Madison, Sebastian, Franklin, Scott, and LaFleur counties. This tornado watch is going to go out until 9 p.m. this evening. So we do have a situation in which the conditions are going to be at least modestly favorable for the development of a quick tornado. I think our odds are somewhat low, and I also don't believe that the threat will continue fully until 9 p.m. What will happen is, as this line of storm continues to work through our area, we'll inevitably see the threat diminish to the west. And the evidence of that would be Benton County. The reason Benton County was not included in this tornado watch is the front has largely passed Benton County at this point. As a result, the tornado threat is quite low. The severe weather potential also quite low. In fact, once this storm moves out of the area, I would suspect we're not going to see any additional thunderstorms, maybe a few snow flurries later this evening, but most of the severe weather potential is going to have exited that part of the region. With that said, we'll have to watch for probably the next 2, maybe 3 hours at most for that potential of some severe weather, including the potential of a couple of tornadoes there. I really do believe our primary hazards today are going to be damaging wind gust and some hail as what we've seen, but of course we'll have to watch radar closely to see if any of these try to spin up a quick little tornado there. So that's the update. Tornado watch has been issued for the majority of the viewing area. Benton County excluded from that, as well as Delaware counties also not included in that. Noah, back to you.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Scott. Again, tornado watch. Like Scott mentioned, I mean, the tornado watch is pretty big, right? We just showed you the big yellow area. It encompasses much of the state of Arkansas, right, with the exception of Benton County and really our Oklahoma counties, except LaFleur County, of course. But it goes till 9 p.m. like we just talked about. But really, as that cold front kind of continues to work its way eastward, I mean, it's going to shove all of the moisture. It's going to shove cooler temperatures, and hence less instability for storms to work with. So the tornado watch goes till 9 p.m. You might be thinking, well, I got to be on guard that whole time. The answer is no, because basically our tornado watch is basically going to get trimmed down as this line of showers and storms continues to push its way eastward. That tornado watch is basically going to get dropped, from counties like LaFleur County, and we'll kind of update you and alert you for when, hey, your severe weather threat's over. We'll kind of give you kind of the all clear as you work your way throughout the afternoon. So I kind of want to talk about the storm instability, the storm field real quick, and we can kind of see almost where the front is if I kind of pull it up. And well, this is kind of just technically model data. And when I say model data, this basically just takes in one computer model, basically says, all right, this is what the instability or storm fuel is going to be like pretty much right now, and basically kind of a good estimation on where the bulk of our fuel is. So kind of notice where the cold front would be, probably just to our west. So the storm that just moved through, right, Fayetteville, Rogers, it's kind of eaten up a lot of that storm energy. I would probably suspect there's probably some more fuel. We'd probably draw this line a little bit further west. Again, this is just one model, so it's not perfect. I kind of just want to talk about the storm fuel. And again, the tornado watch encompasses all of central Arkansas or north central Arkansas. As those showers and storms are going to continue to work their way eastward, they'll probably get their act together through time. So let's go ahead and get back to radar and show you what's going on right there. Kind of just a technical question, Scott. Is that severe thunderstorm warning, will that disappear?
At 2:15, yeah, it,
Okay,
it should
2:15.
fall off, yeah.
Okay. So if you're watching right now, you're joining, you're tuning in, maybe you've seen some thunderstorms, maybe you haven't, maybe you've seen some dark clouds, maybe you've seen some strong winds, regardless, some non-thunderstorm strong winds. We've seen a very windy day so far. That's going to continue. We just have one severe thunderstorm warning right now. It's just a little polygon in northern Washington County, southeastern Benton County. That warning was set until 2:15. The Weather Service saying they're going to set to expire that. So probably, 10 minutes ago, or 10 minutes from now, excuse me, that little polygon is going to disappear because it's kind of moved below severe limits. Let's kind of zoom in a little bit on that cell, and then from there, we'll focus in on some of these cells here, and even got a couple of those thunder showers moving through the Fort Smith. So we'll kind of go north to south here, rapid fire, and talk about who's seeing what out there. Again, this cell is pretty much now in northern Madison County and western Carroll County right now. Oh, gotta zoom in a little bit more here. And this is now east of Rogers, probably getting some light raindrops there in your rooftop. Severe thunderstorm warning, like I mentioned, says Sunday at 2:15 p.m. Basically just means it's going to expire in 10 minutes. So the Weather Service has high confidence that this has kind of gotten below severe limits. Doesn't mean there could be some small, pea-sized, dime-sized hail with this. If you're north of Hinesville, Hobbs State Park still raining pretty heavy right now, but that's going to kind of continue there until about, 10 minutes before it kind of disappears off the map. We'll still watch it, though, and let's kind of get a little closer look on this cell in western Carroll County right now, if it wants to work. Okay. So we'll go back. We'll zoom out a little bit more.
Hit your hand button.
Oh.
No, down. Down one more.
This guy?
Over.
Oh, this guy.
Down one. That one, yeah.
Okay, I got you. All right, so again, still kind of getting used to this hand tracking
You're
tool.
doing great.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a little interesting to get used to, but at least we're not talking about, widespread severe weather at this point. Hopefully that continues to be the case. Like I said, let's zoom in a little bit closer here. There we go. This is what I want to do in the first place. Western Carroll County, right? We're in Eureka Springs, a severe thunderstorm warning, kind of encompassing parts of Beaver Lake there. It's going to set to expire here in, 7-8 minutes right now. So that's kind of what we're seeing with that cell. We'll do the hand track, and we'll kind of go a little bit south along that line, right? It's moving through Hobbs State Park. There's that polygon. And if I zoom out a little bit more, we'll give you a bit better of a picture of what's going on right now. This has moved through Goshen already, moved through Fayetteville. We might actually have a few more showers, storms in parts of Adair County that's going to try to work their way eastward. So yeah, we had that cell move through Fayetteville and Lowell and Rogers and Springdale, but we might get a few more cells on the back side of that if we kind of continue to work our way southward. All right, so here we go. All right, so we got the warning polygon text box to disappear. Let's kind of focus in on this little thin line of showers and storms there from, say, northern Franklin County. Here's St. Paul there in southern Madison County. It's non-severe. It's heading up towards Venus. And again, hopefully I'm saying all these towns right, as there's some great town names across the region. Continue to see that line of showers push through. It's non-severe. Let's just look at velocity, just to see, because we were kind of talking really the last couple of days that we're kind of looking at a mainly wind event, potentially some hail. The tornado threat looked relatively low for us. Again, I know we have the tornado watch. We'll still, watch out for it. We still have the condition that could be favorable, especially lots of favorable winds, especially aloft as you go through high. We call that wind shear. So that's favorable for us. So again, that cold front's going to push all the energy out. I mean, we're looking at just velocity right now. Nothing's jumping out, as in, really strong winds. That's why it's not severe warned. Obviously, the National Weather Service is keeping an eye on it. And again, we'll just get back to radar. So nothing too impressive for velocity. That's good. So here's velocity now. We'll continue to go take a trek down, and let's get here in the river valley. This is north of Mulberry. Mountainburg, you're going to see a thin line of some showers and probably some, maybe a little bit of thunder with this here. This is kind of impacting parts of Fort Smith, Van Buren. It's non-severe. That's good.
It is pulsing up. That's one I've been watching closely off air here. That little cell is showing some signs of growing, if you will.
That's right. Scott just mentioned that Fort Smith, Van Buren cell there. When we say we pulsed up, basically kind of just means either it's an uptick in lightning or the storm tops, the cloud tops, they're getting a little bit higher in the atmosphere. So your updraft's a little bit stronger, which is usually a telltale sign that the storm is strengthening a little bit. It's non-severe, but again, we'll kind of keep our eye on it. You're getting heavy rain on the north side of Fort Smith, north of the Mercy Hospital there. This is east of K. Rogers Park there. Again, over the Arkansas River Bridge there and then into Van Buren. I know we had our fair share of those strong showers and thunderstorms just a few days ago when we had that line of storms move through late in the night. Again, we were tracking that late that one night, but that's kind of what we're watching there. We'll continue to keep our eye on it, and we'll go a little bit further south here. We'll get into Leflore County, and yeah, we got a little spot shower just west of Pecola. We'll continue to go. We're in Leflore County right now. If anyone is unfamiliar with the geography in the towns, we're in Leflore here. Here's Poto. We got some showers just to your southwest, non-severe. Let's zoom in a little. Let's zoom out, excuse me, a little bit more here, and kind of just get a little bit better picture there. Yeah, a little bit stronger cells there, kind of just south of Fanshawe there. We got Oklahoma 270 and then Oklahoma 270 kind of run along this little line here. So some heavy rain, probably some thunder and lightning with this. And if we look at hail with this, and I'll actually go back to that little Fort Smith cell, and we'll talk about hail. I wouldn't expect to see anything on hail detector, and sometimes hail detector has a hard time. Scott, I know you have GIS pulled up. Was there any hail with any of the cells in the river valley, or I can?
None of those specifically, but there is a little bit of hail starting to pop up in the cell that's now getting ready to move into extreme southwestern Madison County. That's going to be coming out of the Bidville area. It's going to come close to St. Paul. That hail, right now, it's sub-severe, meaning it's not large enough to produce a severe thunderstorm warning. And maybe it never gets there, which would certainly be the hope, but that cell is kind of tracking in that direction, so we'll want to watch that pretty closely.
Okay, awesome. So we'll keep our eye on that. Let's just get a home base view. Let's talk about what we're seeing out there right now. And as of now, it's 2:11 p.m. on the Sunday afternoon. Should probably get out a hail detector. Let's get back to radar here. And you see that one little severe thunderstorm polygon. So notice that's actually moved really out of the Interstate 49 corridor out of Washington County, southern Benton County. Notice there's actually a new severe thunderstorm warning that's out of our viewing region. That's actually kind of by the Table Rock area, kind of by Branson-ish. That's in Missouri, so that's out of our viewing region. But the Weather Service in Springfield, Missouri is currently watching that cell. This polygon right now, that's our only one in our viewing region. That's set to expire here in 3 minutes. This got issued, if you're just joining us, that severe thunderstorm polygon got issued about 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. It was set to expire at 2:15. The Weather Service is going to allow it to expire, right? Most of the heavy rain has already moved out, but we'll zoom in a little bit closer on some of those cells there, especially in Carroll County. And here we go. All right, so yeah, let's look at this one here, kind of by the Eureka Springs vicinity. And we'll zoom in a little bit closer. There's that Branson cell I was talking about. That one's now severe warned. And we'll continue to watch this one, Eureka Springs. That looks probably like our strongest cell at this point. Again, Scott was talking about maybe some small hail with that. So just because there's not severe thunderstorm warning doesn't mean there might not be some small hail. Think pea-size, maybe some nickel-sized hail. It's curious. Let's go to hail detector and see if anything's popping up on there. And we'll kind of see what's going on with this cell. Well, it's good news. Again, hail detector, it's not, it's not the gospel. Hail detector is not the gospel. Sometimes it can have some issues trying to detect hail. It did good with this storm that moved out of southern Benton County, northern Washington County. Again, we had hail at our station, about nickel-sized hail. I'm sure maybe some folks maybe had some quarter-sized hail, but that was the threat we were talking about with that system. If we'll jump back to radar, the system's moving across 62 there, so between Eureka Springs and Berryville, probably impacting some heavy rain there, some thunder, lightning, again, maybe some small hail. Basically, we would probably have to focus in on some of those darker reds if we were to see some small pea-sized hail, but in probably a matter of 1 to 2 minutes, the severe polygon there that you see kind of by south of Hobbs State Park, that's going to disappear. Again, if you've been joining us, if you've been here the last 1 to 2 hours, that severe thunderstorm warning polygon, it was warned for hail up to 1 inch in diameter, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. I don't think we've really seen too many. I mean, I know it's been a windy day, but I mean, Scott, you can correct me. I don't know if we've seen too strong of, I guess, thunderstorm wind reports necessarily.
Haven't seen those. The majority of the reports that I've been looking at over here have been hail reports. And so, you know, you're right, though. It has been one of those very windy days. We're talking non-thunderstorm winds with the majority of that. I would like to do something here real quick. I want to reset here and show you that we've got a tornado watch in effect for the majority of the area. Not all of us is included in that. In fact, Benton, Delaware, Adair, Sequoia not included in this tornado watch, but you can see a large majority of the 5 News viewing area from Carroll County through LaFleur points off towards the east under this watch until 9 p.m. this evening. We want to track a storm for you that's not severe at the moment, that I'm keeping my eyes on really closely over here. This is going to be one that's right now moving through Barling, through Kibler, and is soon going to be moving into Alma. Again, it's not severe. We actually, as of this exact moment, we have no active severe thunderstorm warnings in our neck of the woods. And my hope is, Noah's as well, is that we can keep that the case for the next little bit. With that said, these cells have tried to pulse up. They are going to begin forming a squall line as expected. It's kind of a broken line right now, but we'll continue to fill in the gaps if you see those on live radar. This cell specifically, again, not severe, but it has maintained some upward growth over the last few minutes. Largely, these cells have been moving at about 45 or so miles per hour, which is relatively quick. And generally speaking, they're moving towards the east, maybe at times a little bit more northeast. So with that said, let's track this one pretty much along that I-40 corridor. That's going to put it in Kibler now at 216, Dyer 221, Riverdale Church 226, Mulberry at 227, Bluff Hole Park, if we have any campers this afternoon watching, at 229. This storm perhaps has 30 to 50 mile per hour winds, somewhere within that broad range. Severe technically starts at 58 miles per hour. We're not there. 232 for Pleasant View, White Oak Park at 236, and 238 at Cravens. Gives you a general idea of when you can expect that storm to roll through your neck of the woods. That did just dump a little gully washer, especially across north parts of Fort Smith. Now, we do have a sector of cells behind this main line. These, well, I wouldn't entirely rule out producing some heavy downpours, and it does look like there's a little bit of lightning getting ready to move out of Adair County towards Lincoln, perhaps close to Maysville. You're probably hearing that. I wouldn't expect a lot of severe activity from this. Most of our severe weather is going to be along this leading edge of the line. You can see that line is backfilling back towards LaFleur, Heavener, Tallahena, and Worcester. You've got a section that we just tracked together moving through Crawford County, kind of gets broken until it moves up into northern Franklin and southern Madison counties, with some additional rain likely going to begin to be moving back into Benton and Washington County over the next few minutes. So that's kind of what we're looking at from a 30,000 foot perspective. We've not talked a lot about on this specific stream what is coming after this. Let's talk about that a little bit. In fact, I'm going to pull up Futurecast, and truth be told, I've not looked at it over the last couple of hours as our focus was squarely on these specific thunderstorms. With that said, this is a very powerful cold front, and it's going to have 2 additional impacts. In addition to the severe weather, we're also looking at some high non-thunderstorm winds. You've probably felt those throughout the day today. It's also going to be producing some very, very cold temperatures, and just maybe we see a few snowflakes later this evening. So let's walk through the timing of this. I'm going to start this at about 3 o'clock. This isn't the gospel, but it is I would say doing a reasonable job with placement and timing of these thunderstorms. It's going to show the bulk of the strongest moving through parts of our eastern territory. So we're talking Carroll, Johnson, maybe parts of Franklin, Logan, and some Scott County cells very well could be there. I think the key takeaway is while our tornado watch runs until 9 o'clock, there's a high likelihood it's going to be canceled much earlier than that for our viewing area. You can expect those counties to fall off the watch from west to east as that cold front continues progressing off towards the east. It really takes the severe weather threat with it as well. Now let's see if we can't see any of those snow showers. This is 6 p.m. this evening, and yeah, you very well do see some scattered, maybe some sleet mixing in with some snow. I think the highest likelihood, as we've been calling for the last several days, does remain north of Interstate 40, especially the closer you get to the Missouri-Arkansas state line. That's where we're going to have that cold air wrapping around our low pressure system pretty quickly. Although I wouldn't rule out a couple of stray flurries south of I-40 later this evening, just less of a chance of that actually happening. You'll go a little bit later into the evening. Here's 8 p.m. Maybe a spotty snow flurry lingering around the area. By 9, 10 o'clock, Futurecast would predict everything is off to the east. And I would tend to agree with that timing simply because this system overall is moving pretty quickly. So that's the potential for some snow showers tonight. I don't think we're going to see meaningful accumulations, maybe on some grassy surfaces, perhaps on some elevated overpasses and bridges initially, but I really think given how warm the temperatures have been, I mean, my goodness, we were in the 80s yesterday. It's going to be pretty tough to get that to stick to the ground. We'll watch it to be on the safe side, but I think that's generally what we're looking at. When it comes to wind gusts, we felt those all day long, and what we have felt are prefrontal gusts. But now that the front itself is starting to move through the area, you can see, 4 o'clock this afternoon, we're still looking at 30 to perhaps 45 mile per hour wind gust. The difference between what we've seen earlier today versus what's coming is the direction is going to shift. As that cold front slices and dices through the area, it's going to shift our winds out of the south, which has kept it mild and muggy today, to sharply out of the northwest, and that's going to bring that bitter cold temperature into the region. In addition to that, it's also going to dry our atmosphere out. Again, that's at 4:30 this afternoon. You'll notice as we progress into the evening, those winds don't really let up until, let's say, 9, 10 o'clock tonight, and even then, they're whipping around our windows. We're going to hear that when we go to bed later tonight. It's still likely in the 30 to 35 mile per hour range, perhaps still looking at some 40s in the Ouachitas as we're a little bit closer in proximity to that actual cold front itself. I do think by early tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., it's still breezy. We're still looking at 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts. The difference here is it's going to be bitter cold, which gives us wind chill values tomorrow, likely in the low teens, northwest Arkansas, perhaps upper teens and low 20s in the River Valley. When we talk about a powerful cold front, this front is literally going to have us tracking severe storms capable of hail, winds, even a couple of tornadoes, high non-thunderstorm winds, snow showers, and a hard freeze in a matter of 12 hours. That is how we do weather around here, and it's a great example of just that. Let's go back to live radar. We're going to get ready to bring meteorologist Noah Simmons back into this. Noah, right now, as of the current time, 2:21, we do not have any active severe thunderstorm warnings. We continue to hope that is going to be the case. What we do know about this setup today, and we've known for the last couple of days, the risk is going to be higher the further east you go. In fact, there's probably a relatively high likelihood of numerous severe thunderstorms, let's say from Little Rock towards the Mississippi River, where we are at in proximity to this storm. It's just now starting, and the environment here is not as primed as it is the further east you go, and we'll count our blessings there with regards to that. With that said, as that line now is getting ready to start to move into our eastern portions, it does bump up to a yellow level 2. That's out of 5, so still on the lower end of the risk. But right now, what we've seen thus far are storms in the level 1 risk zone, which tells us the storms we've seen thus far have materialized the way they have in an environment that's not actually the best at all. It's only marginally severe. So we'll turn things back over to meteorologist Noah Simmons.
Well, yes, thank you, Scott. You actually beat me to it. I was going to show the risk area. But again, as Scott mentioned, it's expected to strengthen the line of showers and storms the further east you go. So we've been talking the last couple of days. We've been kind of teetering between, say a level 2 out of 5, and then it's yellow, and the level 3 out of 5, and say, this orange color. So, right, Little Rock, Jonesboro, Pine Bluff, out towards Memphis, a little bit higher of an opportunity at seeing some of those showers and thunderstorms out there. Let's get back to radar. Again, we got a wild day of weather. I mean, from strong winds, strong non-thunderstorm winds. Even if you don't get a severe thunderstorm warning, you can still have wind gusts 40, 50 miles an hour, which is crazy. We're going to go from a tornado watch in some of our counties. Again, we don't have any warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings. We're going to go from a tornado watch in some of our counties to potentially some flurries. And then really cold wind chills tomorrow morning. I'm sure a lot of people aren't excited about that, but let's get back to radar. Again, just kind of a crazy day that we're going to be talking about in terms of weather. So you almost kind of see this line, almost trying to get its act together from Carroll County down to Madison County, northern Franklin County here, kind of just east of Fort Smith area, and then kind of through, say, Poteau, Heavener area. This line basically is that line that we've kind of been talking about over the last couple of days, is that line's going to progress eastward. If we check the radar here, probably 3-4 hours from now, there's probably going to be a pretty distinct line across central Arkansas. We call that kind of a squall line. It usually poses the risk for some of those straight line winds. So no warnings right now. There's technically a warning just north of the state border into southern Missouri. This is kind of just northeast of Branson. So that's the only severe thunderstorm warning, I guess, in the region. But in terms of the 5 News viewing region, we don't have anything to talk about. But let's actually focus in on some of these cells. Let's jump to the Madison County cells here that we're going to be working on, because these were the ones that were kind of showing a little bit more strengthening here. They have a little bit better energy, better instability. We talked about this. We were watching it here about probably 10 minutes ago. It's not severe right now, but we go from St. Paul to Venus here to Osage, and we're going to continue to see those push their way eastward there out of Madison County. Here's Carroll County. That's going to continue to push its way towards Osage here. Let's kind of go a little bit further south across the line. We were talking about that cell that was that just moved through Alma. It's going to be moving through Mulberry here, just northwest of Charleston there. If I were to zoom in, maybe the giant Budweiser can would pop up, but we'll just zoom in a little bit closer on this cell here. I think I might be a little bit north of the Budweiser can, but that's besides the point. Riverdale, again, here's the Arkansas River. It's going to be crossing the bend in the river right now as we're speaking there. Alma's off to our west, so it's moved through Alma. Mulberry would be just to our north. I might need to zoom out a little bit more to just get a better picture on what we're seeing out there right now. We'll just zoom out just a tiny bit more there. So, right, so here's Alma. There's Dean Springs getting some light to moderate rainfall. That's east of us. And earlier Scott mentioned about, watching the storm. It kind of strengthened a little bit. I'm not sure, Scott, do we have another update on if that storm, I know it's non-severe, but...
Non-severe, maintaining itself as a relatively strong thunderstorm just below that severe weather threshold. I've not seen hail come up on it. In fact, I would even go as far to say over the last couple of scans, I've actually seen a little bit less organization, and that's certainly some good news.
Okay, that's awesome. So hopefully that continues to be the case. Of course, it's probably going to still pack, some gusty winds, but as long as it stays below severe limits, as long as we avoid the afternoon without a tornado warning, then we're good. I don't like talking about tornado warnings. I know some of our counties are under tornado watch until 9 p.m., but again, further west you go, that tornado watch is probably going to get trimmed as we work our way through the afternoon. This is probably the main line of showers and thunderstorms that we're going to have to talk about here the next couple hours. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if by, 4 p.m., maybe 5 p.m., this is all out of here, and this is more of a central Arkansas and north central Arkansas issue. Hopefully they escape the worst of it as well. So let's actually focus in on southern LaFleur County. If we're south of Poteau, we're seeing some light raindrops. Heavener getting some downpours right now. Let's just focus in a little bit more on that.
Hey, Noah, on that specific cell you're about to zoom into there in southern LaFleur County, Heavener, Tallahena, Page, Octavia, that specific cell, it's moving a little bit slower at 50 miles per hour. However, it is presenting some wind gusts, 40 mile per hour, and perhaps up to penny-size hail. And it looks at, as of this point, that's the strongest cell we've got.
Okay. Thank you for that, Scott. So yeah, let's talk about that. You said 50 miles an hour, Scott?
50 mile per hour off towards the east, and that very well could, depending if it moves back more northeast, could come into parts of Scott County. Right now, the worst of that would probably impact Polk County around Mena.
Okay, sounds good. Let's just get a little quick track of that for southern LaFleur County folks, maybe even folks that live maybe in Waldron or Y-City. Let's just do a little quick track on that. And we're going to do a quick line. It's moving at about 50 miles an hour. And did that one have a special weather statement, Scott?
It did. That just came out from Tulsa a couple seconds ago.
Okay, so that one. So when I say special weather statement, it's one step below a severe thunderstorm warning. So gusty winds of, say, 50 miles an hour. maybe some nickel-sized hail. So maybe not necessarily 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, which is enough to maybe cause, some tree damage. That's kind of that threshold that the Weather Service uses. But let's kind of just do a little track on this here. And we'll go all the way to the LaFleur County line. And it's moving about roughly at this speed here. So, right, Bates 232 here, so really a couple minutes. Black Fork 241. And we're going to be talking about Waldron at 2:54 p.m. So, I mean, heads up, Waldron, if this continues, it could pack, some gusty winds, which would be right here just south of Scott County. That would be by about 3:15. And we'll kind of continue to see that line of showers and storms continue to push their way eastward. This one has a special weather statement. It doesn't populate on our Doppler radar because it's not a severe thunderstorm warning, but just know that we're going to be watching that line. Let's kind of focus in on some of the showers kind of west of Interstate 49. I've been kind of reading some of the comments. I like to read some of the Facebook comments, just see what the people want to know. I think I had a comment say, what about Fort Smith and Mountainburg? Well, let's zoom in a little bit closer. And again, I'll go back to some of the comments here and see what people want to know. Technically, we are under a tornado watch, not a warning. A watch just means let's be on the lookout. Conditions could be favorable the next few hours. A warning would be a red polygon that you would see on the map, and that's when we take shelter. We don't have a tornado warning. That's good. But right now, Fort Smith's dry. We had that little thin line of showers and storms push through. It's now east of Alma. Mulberry, heads up. This is going to impact you in just a couple minutes. Charleston, this is going to move through. And then Greenwood, seeing some light raindrops out there. No severe weather. That's good. Let's take a little trip here north on 49. Let's get up to about Mountainburg. Let's talk about Winslow here. You can kind of see that line of showers and thunderstorms that have kind of pushed through. They're east of Mountainburg. They're east of Winslow. This is kind of that main line that we're watching. It's just moved through St. Paul. Cass could have some gusty winds with that. Right now, this does not have a special weather statement, but it does have the highest potential for strong to severe thunderstorms throughout the next hour. It's this line right here. So if we zoom out a little bit more, and in fact, let's just get to home base here, kind of just talk about everyone and what everything and everybody is seeing right now. It's this main line right here from eastern Carroll County to the eastern Madison County line, so kind of just east of Huntsville right now. It's this main line, kind of stretches down into northern Franklin and Crawford County line there. Here's Charleston right here in this vicinity, kind of goes through southern Sebastian County, and then all the way through Poto, Heavener, if I can continue my finger all the way down there. And basically it's this line right now, and that's going to continue to work its way eastward. So if I were to draw this for any of our visual learners, the Weather Service is basically watching this main line, and this is kind of what we talked about in some of our models if you watched any of our newscasts the last, 2 days. Basically this line right here, and if I were to continue to draw it out, it would extend all the way to, say, Heavener. So anywhere east of this line, I think that's the greatest severe potential. So if you're watching in Clarksville, let's keep our eye on this. If you're watching in Ozark, certainly keep our eye on it as well. Paris, if we're in Subiaco, Scranton, all of our towns here, Waldron, Boonville, let's just continue to watch it there as that line has this greatest potential. Now, notice some of these showers, maybe even some couple of thunderstorms in here. You might be asking, well, do we have to worry about that? Is that going to be severe? Basically, I'm just kind of talking about this area right here by about kind of north of Salisal, western Washington County, Adair County, these little cells, these little showers. So here's the good thing about these showers. Basically, we had a severe thunderstorm warning by about 45 minutes, an hour ago, and it kind of used up a lot of the energy in, say, eastern Washington County, eastern Benton County. So there's maybe not as much energy or storm fuel for some of these, some of these guys to kind of use up. So we're not too worried with some of these cells. It's probably going to give you some heavy downpours out there, but really the cold front's kind of lagging just behind, and that's going to shove all of this rain, all that storms off to our east throughout the afternoon. So I think once you get to, 4 or 5 p.m., most of it should be kind of done by now. So let's kind of take a look at what we're seeing there. Let's kind of focus in on that Mulberry storm. I think it's moving through Mulberry right now as we speak here. Again, 2:32 on the Sunday afternoon. So far, we've had one severe thunderstorm warning. That brought mainly just some nickel to quarter-sized hail in parts of Fayetteville, Johnson area. We had hail at the station. Springdale area had some hail along US 412 east of Springdale. That cell has actually moved kind of north and east, so it's actually in the eastern Carroll County. It's not severe. We have a severe thunderstorm warning there in Missouri. That's not our issue. That's not our problem. It's just this main line. So let's kind of focus in here We'll go to eastern Carroll County, and Scott, if you're seeing anything with any of these cells, feel free to jump in here.
Sure, thank you.
But we'll just talk about this eastern Carroll County. I think there's probably I guess our strongest cell right at the Madison Carroll County line, kind of just east of Marble, and then kind of just northeast of Purdy here. So, I mean, that's really our strongest reflectivity values, and usually we're looking for the strongest reflectivity core. Again, here's the legend, the reflectivity core. We're looking for the strongest reflectivity core in terms of the strongest part of the storm. It's non-severe. I don't even think there's a special weather statement with this guy, but this is kind of right along, right, US 412 there. Huntsville is kind of right here on the left side of your screen there. And then this is Withrow Springs State Park, just north of Huntsville there. So that's off to our east, but that's kind of the cell that we're tracking. That's going to be moving out of our area here in probably the next 20 to 30 minutes. We won't have to really talk about it, but we still have to talk about that line that extends all the way from that Carroll-Madison County line all the way southward, you know, through Venus there and through St. Paul there. This line, let's kind of watch this for some straight line winds. Again, this is kind of
That
going.
certainly looks like it.
Right, so let's just look at velocity and let's just kind of get a closer look. There's not a special weather statement on that, Scott, is there?
There's not at the moment, but I think what's interesting is not only our radar returns there starting to show, as Noah's zooming in, a more crisp, well-defined leading edge. That's often a sign of increasing straight line winds. You'll also probably recall that has significantly quickly moved into that level 2 and getting close to that level 3 risk. So we know it's moving into an area where ingredients are going to be a bit more favorable for that. Noah, if you want to track that, we'll come right back to me. I've got some other information I want to pass along.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, let's go ahead and track that out real quick, and then Scott's going to pass on just a little bit more information here in about the next minute or two. Is that moving at 50 miles an hour roughly, Scott?
I would say yes.
Okay.
That checks out.
Okay. All right, let's do a little 50-mile-an-hour track. We'll zoom out just a little bit more, and let's get a kind of a big picture view on this line. Again, this is the Madison County line there, and let's kind of just track it out. We'll use 50 miles an hour, even just kind of be on the safe side, even if it's moving a little bit slower there. We'll use 50 here. Bam, there we go. All right, let's get this thing tracked out. I'll go all the way here. Oh, yikes, that was not good. All right, let's redo that here. I think my other hand got in the way. All right, so let's redo that little track.
A little further.
All right, and there we go. Third time's a charm. All right, so we're going to be using that squall line here, moving at 50 miles an hour. All right, so we're still at 50. Let's kind of go all the way. And I'm getting really low here. I didn't even think I could get that low. That almost probably looked a little awkward on camera there, but it's moving its way eastward there. So let's kind of include that. So that's going to be in the OARC General Store as well. And again, this is kind of moving to the east at 50 miles an hour. So OARC General Store, that's probably going to be about 10, 15 minutes there as it works its way eastward. So here's kind of northern Johnson County line. And then here's kind of northeastern Franklin County line. You see Cass there, St. Paul, just east of St. Paul. We're going to be looking at that. And again, Scott, you said you had a little bit of information to pass along here?
Yeah, if we could come back to me here, I want to walk you through the latest that I'm tracking over here. We maintain that tornado watch until 9 p.m. for most of the evening, but I'm in some communication with the Weather Service, and I'm getting word that they're probably going to start to trim some of those western counties. We talked about the high likelihood of that a few moments ago. So what we expect to see, I don't want to call out any specific counties, but as the front is moving east, our threat is east of the front as well. Meaning once the front clears your location, and you're going to know it immediately. Temperatures are dropping like a rock right now across most of the area. Once that happens, your severe weather threat is largely over. And so I would expect at least some of these counties to be shaved off of that tornado watch in the next few moments, more than likely. I want to show you this. This is live radar right now. You can clearly identify where that front is. We've been tracking those storms, the strongest of which, as Noah just mentioned, eastern Carroll, southeastern Madison County. Strong thunderstorm, let's say Heavener points towards the south, Octavia, Tallahena, Page. That's not severe at the moment. Really, it's those two clusters of storms that I want to watch. But when you zoom out, you can get an idea of the big picture here. A strong low pressure system rolling through the area right now. You got some aches, you got some pains, a headache today. Yeah, that human barometer is a very real thing. And this low pressure, it's pretty deep. And so you might be feeling it a little bit worse That is going to improve as this system does have some forward momentum. It's moving pretty quickly, and so I would expect you to feel a little bit better, let's say by early tomorrow morning. Draw your attention to the west side of that front. Keep in mind that these low pressure centers, they rotate counterclockwise. As that's happening, we're pulling in some very, very cold air from up north on the backside of this low pressure, and it's pulling it in, catching some moisture as well. In southeast Kansas, as well as north central Oklahoma, radar returns are already showing some pockets of rain transitioning over into some snow. That's a likelihood for us this evening. Some snow flurries are going to be likely. I don't expect to see a lot of heavy snow per se. However, given the winds with this low pressure system are so strong, there may be some visibility issues with even just some light snow showers. In terms of road impacts, I think the likelihood of some visibility issues are greater than actual accumulations. With that said, bridges and overpasses, we'll be mindful of those. Otherwise, I think some grassy surfaces may pick up a dusting, maybe a few tenths of an inch, but likely not going to see much more than that. The big picture tells the story. The threat is east of the front. Behind it, there's rain. In fact, I hear some rain moving through right now. That's not likely to become severe, as noted by the likelihood of our tornado watch going to be trimmed here shortly. Wanted to check to see if they've done it. They haven't done it, but as soon as we start dropping those counties, we'll be sure to pass that information along to you. Noah.
Okay, thank you for that, Scott. Again, so that's good news that we're seeing start to trim some of those
Absolutely.
some counties in that tornado watch, especially the further west you go. So again, it's this main line that we're still going to be watching out there. Let's get a little closer look on what we're going to be seeing. And I kind of just want to focus on velocity. So when I say velocity, we're just talking about the winds here. And looks like this might be frozen here. So let me go back to the computer. And all right, let's see here. Okay. Question, Scott, do you know why this isn't?
Let me take a look.
Sometimes it's a little finicky.
See what we're doing here. Try it now.
Try it now. Okay, I think it actually.
You trying to zoom in?
Well, I was trying to get the home base, but I mean, I can try to zoom in. I'm sure it'll work now. No.
I think you are home.
Okay. Let's try to zoom in, see if it works. Yeah.
Oh, click max 1.
Is that the bottom left?
I think I messed it up for you. I think I switched over to max 2. My apologies.
Oh no, you're good. All right, let's see if it works now. Okay. I think we're
That
good.
was my fault.
I think we're back. It's all good. So yeah, let's just look at this cell. We talked about it moving through Mulberry. It has already since moved through Mulberry here. It's kind of east there, right in that Interstate 40 corridor. So if you're leaving Ozark, you're heading west, maybe might wait a few minutes. If you still have to go, just take it slow on the roadways. It's going to be packing a little bit of a punch there. Let's focus in a little bit the further north we go, and let's take a look at velocity. Excuse me, I had my words jumbled up there. So when I say velocity, basically just talking about how strong our winds are at the leading edge of the storm, and it's not severe. If we had a severe thunderstorm warning, we'd see a yellow/orange polygon popping up on the radar there. So if we look at velocity, we can kind of see how strong some of these winds are. My guess is, well, we're kind of far away from the actual radar site, so we're probably going to get a good representation of what's happening at the ground, but I wouldn't expect too strong of winds necessarily. We'll take a look at it here. Again, yeah, we're about 40 miles an hour. I mean, folks have seen 40 mile an hour winds without these storms. That's kind of those non-thunderstorm winds that we've talked about. It's enough to maybe bring a couple small branches down, but nothing too concerning. We'll keep our eye on it. I'm sure it's going to continue to strengthen as you work your way throughout the rest of your Sunday afternoon. So here's home base. Let's get back to radar, what a lot of people are used to seeing here. Again, if you're just joining us, we got this line of showers and thunderstorms moving throughout our region. There's no severe thunderstorm warnings right now. There's no tornado warnings. We do have a tornado watch, technically. And if I were to show that real quick, I know Scott just showed it a couple minutes ago. If I talk about the watches and warnings, here we go. There we go. So any area in yellow, that's a tornado watch. That's where the county is. So Benton County, you're not under it. Delaware, Adair County, even Sequoia County, we're in the clear. So that's some good news there. And Scott mentioned this a couple of times within the last half an hour. Some of these western counties, so say LaFleur County, Sebastian, Crawford County, Washington County, these counties are probably going to get trimmed here within the next hour as that line of showers and storms continue to push its way eastward. Again, the cold front, if I were to draw it out, it's just to our west and it's continuing to push its way eastward at the right time. So that's kind of just the tornado watch that we're seeing out there. And if I look at what we call storm fuel out there, you can basically see where the most of the storm fuel is that these storms have to work with. So say from southern LaFleur County there, all the way through Scott County, Logan County, again, still Franklin County, Johnson County, got to keep around it. And of course, eastern Carroll County, and pretty much if you sliced Madison County in half there, anywhere east, that's where some of these storms still have, a little bit of fuel to use up. And basically that's where the greatest potential for seeing some more severe thunderstorm warnings would be pretty much kind of east of this dividing line. It's pretty self-explanatory. Again, I'm kind of just highlighting it there with my finger. So that's where the best energy and the best storm fuel is for that storm. If you kind of go to the radar, you can almost kind of see where that line of storms is from, say, eastern Carroll County. It's pretty much moving out of Madison County. We'll get a closer look, and actually we'll do a little track along our community.
If we want to, while you're queuing that up, Trevor, if we could pull me up or pull Max 2 full, I have a look from our Ozark, Arkansas Valley Electric and wave camera. This, of course, sits over the Arkansas River. You can see I've got this pointed off towards the southwest. Here's the river, bottom of your screen, turns there a little bit further west you go. As I shift this camera a little bit further, and it does get a bit choppy at times, I hope I don't make anyone seasick here. You can see the darkening leading edge of those clouds. This lighter portion between, let's say, the mountain ridge there and those clouds, that's going to be that very heavy precipitation, likely some moderate to heavy rainfall is going to be likely for a lot of folks, as you can see that storm. Now, that's looking a little bit closer to the I-40 corridor. So Noah mentioned, yeah, you know what, if you got to be out and about, maybe driving Mulberry to Ozark or vice versa, or anywhere along 40, wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and wait for that specific, wait for that cell to move through. I keep pulling up the tornado watch. I do think they just canceled parts of the watch. I don't know which ones just yet, but that is going to be something we'll be able to pass along to you here in the next few minutes. Overall, I do want to say this. Sometimes people see us live streaming and they immediately think there's something bad happening. In this case, quite the contrary. We wanted to be here for you as simply a resource, just in case you heard the lightning and thunder and heavy downpours. Maybe you had a little bit of hail, and you just wanted a place to go to find out, hey, what's up? So our presence here doesn't necessarily mean anything is bad at the moment. There is a potential. The window for us is closing pretty quickly as that front is rapidly accelerating off towards the east. It's pushing the severe weather threat with it as well. And that, of course, is some good news. I do think in terms of who we're going to be watching closely for over the next few minutes, it's going to be Franklin, Johnson, Logan, Scott, and far southern LaFleur counties. But again, as that front is moving so quickly, I think we've probably got let's say 60 to 90 more minutes in which we're going to want to stay severe weather aware. As we've talked about, this front, it's powerful. That's going to bring some higher winds today, non-thunderstorm winds. The temperatures are rapidly falling. In fact, the 24-hour temperature difference is somewhat wild to see. And you can notice where the front itself is, as those temperatures have just steadily been falling behind this front. We're already down 30 degrees in Bentonville. We're already down 16 in Podo, already down 18 Van Buren, already down 17 degrees in Fort Smith, which of course is going to be a shock to the system because these temperatures don't stop falling into the overnight hours. With the temperatures falling like a rock, with those winds staying high, look at this. Let me back that up. This is very interesting to see. 2 o'clock, which is, let's go to 3 o'clock. It's going to feel like upper low 40s, low 50s, Northwest Arkansas, upper 50s, even some low 60s in the River Valley. But with that cold air, you see it just building in. Those blues are just plowing south. That's 7 p.m. tonight. It's going to feel like we're in the 20s, Northwest Arkansas, 30s in the River Valley, but it doesn't stop there. We'll fast forward all the way to tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. The kids, my gosh, they're going to need the big heavy coats. We've got feels-like temperatures dropping into the single digits across most of Northwest Arkansas, low teens in the River Valley. That is bitter cold. We talk about a shock to the system. After several consecutive days of way above average temperatures in the 80s a little bit yesterday, kind of wild, right? Kind of wild indeed. So get ready for that. It is going to be a thing that we're going to have to deal with for a couple of days before we're probably setting some more daily record highs in a matter of 5 to 6 days. Just goes to show you how strong of a cold front this actually is. I do want to see if we've been able to drop any of those watches to see if that has come in. Not yet, but I do suspect it is probably going to happen here very shortly. We'll provide that information for you. I think we've got about 60 to 90 minutes of this event, at least in terms of severe weather, and we'll be here as a resource for you until we're no longer needed. Noah.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Scott. So we've had one severe thunderstorm warning so far today. That's great. Hopefully that continues to be the case. Hopefully, we get through the next hour, like Scott mentions, of pretty much nothing going on. Again, tornado watch in some of our counties are probably going to get dropped. I kind of just want to take a look at storm reports. We did have hail earlier. That was just with our one severe thunderstorm warning, and we had those hail reports in between Fayetteville, Springdale. If I kind of zoom in a little bit closer, one of those hail reports actually came from our very own Joshua, as we had about nickel-sized hail. And if I zoom in, it was quite literally at our news station right here at that topmost report. And we had some more hail there, kind of by the Fulbright Expressway interchange there. So, right, we had some of that nickel to quarter-sized hail. We're not talking about really hail anymore, but let's just get a quick look on the radar right now, what's going on. Let's get back to radar. We're still in storm reports, but I was kind of just checking some of the comments. We still got some people watching. Again, we don't have any warnings, so if you're tuning in, that's great. Maybe you're nervous or you just kind of want to know what's on. I saw a comment that said it's very windy in Greenwood. I don't doubt that. It's probably very windy everywhere you are, even if you don't have a thunderstorm heading your way. We got some very strong wind gusts. I know some folks are wondering what's going on in Van Buren and Lavaca. So let's kind of zoom in there on some of our folks that are watching on the live stream there. Again, I just kind of like to look at comments and see what people want to know out there. So we'll focus on Van Buren. Notice we're still in Doppler radar. We don't really have a lot of action going on. If you're outside, maybe you got to take the dog out. You'll encounter some light raindrops there, kind of up by Cedarville, northeast of Muldrow there. Here's the Sequoia, Crawford County line. Here's Fort Smith, north of Fort Smith. Notice that line of showers and storms is actually behind me. And again, we'll kind of take a look at that. Lavaca, pretty much clear here. So, I mean, really our severe weather threat for areas like Fort Smith, Muldrow, Salisaw, Van Buren, I would probably say is pretty much done with this point as that cold front continues to push its way eastward. Let's kind of go a little bit further east here as that line of storms is pushing into Ozark. Scott showed you that web camera there. It's non-severe, but it is still moving its way eastward. And we're from about Watalula to Ozark there, kind of by Whitaker Village. It's moving its way eastward. I highly doubt there's any hail with it. We can just double check just in case, maybe calm anyone's fears out there. Not really seeing too much hail, if any, so that's good. Let's go to velocity or winds and maybe see how strong the winds are with this. Again, so we're taking a look from the Fort Smith radar site, kind of on the bottom left hand of the screen. And so it's kind of shooting the radar beam and it's kind of intercepting the storm out by Ozark. So we're still going to be, a few thousand feet up. That's what we're basically sampling the data. So if we kind of take a look at maybe what kind of winds we're seeing, I wouldn't expect anything super impressive with that line moving through Ozark, but I mean.
Hey, Noah, if we would pull up Max 2, I want to show you Ozark right now. Interesting little picture here. I showed this camera to you a little bit earlier. Trevor, if we want to pull it up perfect, actually, that you can see those winds not only bouncing the camera around. Look at the Arkansas River. My goodness, water is choppy to say the least. This is where exactly the core of those highest winds are at the moment. Many cameras that I've been looking at around the area are doing this exact thing. They're bouncing up and down. In some cases, like Ozark, along the I-40 corridor, we're looking at thunderstorm winds. In many other cases, the winds are just as high, but it's just because of the low pressure and how strong it is. And so you've got thunderstorm winds, non-thunderstorm winds. At the end of the day, wind is wind, and so it's going to continue to be pretty breezy out there. I do want to show you this. I've been watching and waiting for that new watch or watches to be dropped, and I'm happy to report to you we have dropped a few counties from this. Let's see, we've dropped Carroll, Crawford, and Washington counties out of the watch. So that's 3 counties that now you can also join Benton, Delaware, Adair, and Sequoia, and I can give you the complete all clear. So that does keep the watch in effect for, let's say, a little bit longer for LaFleur, Sebastian, Franklin, Madison. Although when I look at the front, though, I think it's probably within the next hour, we'll see Tulsa National Weather Service drop some additional counties out of that. However, if you're in Crawford, Washington, Carroll, you are no longer included in this tornado watch.
Okay, great update from Scott. That's some good news. I mean, really, Northwest Arkansas starting to get some of our counties dropped. I believe it was still kind of on to Sebastian County, but I would probably, and Scott, you might even agree with me. I think Fort Smith is probably in the clear at this point.
I think so.
I think with that line of storms that, I'll kind of draw out for everybody here. It's kind of just, into basically out of Carroll County and pretty much out of Madison County. I kind of draw that line. This is who we're still going to be kind of watching and keeping our eye on here the next hour. So probably by 4 p.m. I think pretty much for severe weather threats pretty much going to be over, at least for the 5 News viewing region. I think it's going to be a different story, though, for Little Rock. So if you're basically east of this line, I'm going to draw it here from about, I'd say Waldron. We'll continue that all the way up through, say, Paris, go through Ozark. It's kind of moving through Ozark right now. Oh, the line's getting a little curvy here. So if you're west of this line, we're not really too concerned with you. And that's good. I mean, Scott just kind of gave you guys some of the all clear there. If you're east of that line, places like Waldron, Paris, Clarksville, Coal Hill, we're still going to be watching this line. It's not severe at this point. We're still going to be watching some gusty winds with it. I think our hail potential has almost maybe gone down a little bit, and this actually might be transitioning and translating into more of a straight line wind event, especially if this line can kind of congeal. It's still kind of broken up a little bit, kind of along the line all the way south there to the LaFleur, Scott County line. That's kind of what we're seeing out there. And, if we zoom in to that Ozark cell, it's non-severe, but I'm sure, I mean, Scott just showed you that webcam. We probably had, maybe 40 to maybe 50-mile wind gusts with that. Again, based on how that camera was kind of shaking and the river was getting a little choppy out there. So we'll zoom in a little bit closer to that cell, and that's probably going to be, knocking on Coal Hill's doorstep if you're on that I-40 corridor. And here we go. So let's zoom in a little bit, and let's zoom in a little bit more here and kind of just get a little bit better of a picture there. So we're kind of focusing on Ozark right now. Here's Coal Hill, Horsehead Lake there. We got 64 Interstate 40s here. This line of storms, while it's non-severe, it's probably packing some gusty winds. And even, if you're not seeing thunderstorms, you're going to be seeing some gusty winds regardless. I mean, 40 to 50-mile-an-hour gusts are possible at times. It's not going to be sustained, but it's going to be possible, especially even with this line of storms that moves through. That kind of continues off by Roseville there. Let's kind of go a little bit further south here into parts of southern Franklin County and even get into a little bit into Logan County as well. There's Coxville, Paris, Driggs. It's Boonville. It's kind of just east of Boonville. Magazine. It might get a little breezy on Mount Magazine, I would suspect, as that line of storms push its way east, where there's Mount Magazine there. And you can kind of see a little bit of the higher terrain, the Ouachitas, probably some stronger wind gusts there in the higher ridge tops as that line of storms continues to push its way eastward there. And let's kind of get a little bit closer look. Maybe you live in between Boonville and Paris, and maybe you're kind of wondering, what's going to be going on here. Here's Driggs. This is, Arkansas 109 between Mount Magazine there and then Paris kind of on the northern part of your screen. It's going to be moving its way eastward. It's non-severe. We still have a tornado watch. We're still watching some conditions that are favorable. We're not seeing any rotation. I mean, Scott, I'm not sure. Scott, have you seen any rotation with any of these cells yet?
I have not, which, I love that for us, but I've been looking up and down this line, and I've not even seen a hint of it.
Okay, that's great. I've kind of just look at some of the comments here. We don't really have any new comments. I think I went over Lavaca, Fort Smith, Van Buren. We're pretty much in the clear at this point. If you're by the giant Budweiser can, we're pretty much in the clear if you're in Lavaca. Let's zoom in a little bit further out, and we might take a trip into Scott County and see what's going on here. It's this main line. That's kind of just the main line that we're focusing on. It's still pretty broken. So, yeah, there might be some gusty winds with this kind of line of storms as kind of the rain-cooled air comes out of it and kind of pushes the wind out from it. But in terms of severe weather, in terms of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, that doesn't look to be the case as of right now. That could change in the next 30 minutes, an hour. We'll, of course, be here to let you know. But, we're still seeing some of those sporadic showers, even some rumbles of thunder there. And, I got to get to the hand track here. Let's get a little bit further south between about Tate, Waldron. This is east of Mansfield. So I think if we're Mansfield, I think we don't really have to worry about this. Black Fork there at the LaFleur, Scott County line. That little heavy cell, that's going to be moving through there to the east. But again, this is non-severe. I'm just going to do a home base real quick, Scott. If you want to pull up the wind gusts,
sure,
and maybe see what kind of wind gusts we're seeing, especially where that cold front is, because sure, I mean we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings. Doesn't mean there's going to be no wind out there. We talked about it's a very windy day regardless. Here's that main line of storms, and the cold front's kind of just lagging off back in this vicinity here. and there's very strong winds. I think that's probably the bulk of our strongest winds are going to be switching from the south. Instead, they're going to be from the west, northwest, and they're going to be gusting, 40 to 50 miles an hour. So, and yeah, you see the showers there in kind of Fayetteville and parts of northwest Arkansas and Springdale. They're not severe, but they still could have, some very breezy winds as that front continues to push its way in. And again, as those temperatures come crashing down. So, Scott, if you're ready and we can look at those wind gusts, I'm kind of just curious to see.
They're high. They're high for sure. In fact, you're going to find that Fort Smith is where we've got the highest wind gust at the moment, 44 miles per hour. That was measured at the Fort Smith Regional Airport, so we know it's a good set of data there, 44 miles per hour. You might draw your attention to this donut hole over Sallisaw. And while the folks in Sequoyah County and Sallisaw are awesome, they did not build a wind dome around Sequoyah County. The issue there is the sensor is offline. So I would suspect we're at minimally 35, perhaps as high as 45 miles per hour across Sequoyah County. Don't want you thinking that that's actually the real issue. There is definitely wind in Sequoyah County. Bentonville, 35 miles per hour. Fayetteville's Drake Field at 30 miles per hour. Huntsville, 34 miles per hour. Boonville winds have picked up at times up to 30. Poto as well. You can see those winds are shifting direction sharply out of the northwest. Look at Tulsa right now. This is what's coming our direction. Tulsa International Airport just measured a 53 mile per hour wind gust. I don't know if all of our winds are going to get up to 50, but that is the ceiling in which we're looking at. Keep in mind, these are non-thunderstorm winds, right? This is just because of a very strong low pressure swinging a front through the area. 58 mile per hour wind gust is what would constitute a severe thunderstorm warning. Just for some perspective is the reason I point that out to you. These winds are going to be up there. There may not be warnings. There is a wind advisory for everybody, but it's going to be one of those evenings that if you haven't already brought in the lawn furniture, make sure it's secured somehow. Any lawn decorations, things you don't want to find. In this case, in parts of Little Rock, that's where you'd almost have to go to find your items at this point, given these strong winds. I'm joking, obviously. You might want to go ahead and just take some time to secure those, make sure everything is nice and tight there. Otherwise, there's no telling, because simply these winds aren't going to let up until really early tomorrow morning. Early tomorrow morning, it's still going to be breezy, perhaps a little bit lower, 20 to 35 mile per hour wind gust, but gusty nonetheless.
Right, so just a very, very windy day out there. In fact, I have storm winds pulled up. And I guess maybe we shouldn't call it storm winds, because a lot of this wind isn't necessarily associated with the storms. It's essentially associated with that very strong low pressure system. I kind of just, kind of did a point on the map there, 47 miles an hour. You might be wondering, why is it negative? Well, we're taking a look from the Fort Smith radar. So greens means the wind's going toward the radar site. Reds would mean it's going away from the site. So as the wind is coming towards the radar site, that's why it's showing negative, because velocity is the difference in not just the speed, but also the direction. So that's kind of why that negative. If this was red and the winds were going away from the radar, it would be positive 47. But I mean, a non-thunderstorm, there's no thunderstorms impacting, west central Washington County right now. But you see a wind gust of 45 miles an hour. Now, keep in mind that's probably a couple thousand feet in the atmosphere. But I mean, wind gusts. I mean, Scott just showed you. You see those wind gusts, 40 to 50 miles an hour. I mean, that's enough to bring down some small branches. And so we'll certainly keep our eye on that. It's a very windy day regardless. Let's kind of get a look at what we're going to be seeing here. Again, if you're just joining us, the good news is that tornado watch in some of our counties has been allowed to expire, and that's good. We still kind of want that to be the case. I kind of actually want to zoom out just a little bit more.
Hey, while you're doing that, Noah, I want to pull up Max 2 if we could, Trevor. I do have an accident that I want to make folks aware of. You never really know why these accidents occur, but it would appear that given the rain moving through and perhaps the wind had a little bit to do with it, we do have this pickup truck that has somehow found himself way off the road in the ditch here. Where are we looking at? This is in Fayetteville along I-49. You can see we're in the southbound lanes there where this accident is being tended to by, it looks like, 2 Arkansas State Troopers. This is going to be the exit you get off to take Garland or swing around over onto 71B, otherwise known as the Fulbright Expressway. So just a heads up that while this is mostly just rain in Washington County right now, roads might be a little bit wet, and you probably should drive with a little bit of extra caution. There's one bozo there in the northbound lane driving without his headlights on, and we don't want anyone to be a bozo. So turn those windshield wipers on. You got to turn on the headlights as well.
Yes, great tips there, and So yeah, obviously a good reminder to maybe take it safe on the roadways, as you can sometimes have. Excuse me. I've been talking a while there. Sometimes your voice gets a little raspy there. Again, yeah, just a good tip. Maybe take it slow on the roadways. I kind of want to show you this, guys. If I kind of zoomed out, right? We don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings here in Arkansas. That's good. Let's hope it stays that way. But this line of storms extends into Missouri. And look at these severe thunderstorm warnings. That's probably one of the biggest severe thunderstorm warning polygons that I've ever seen. And that's kind of in my neck of the woods there in Missouri. And the National Weather Service in Springfield, Missouri, is extending this well in advance just because they have high confidence in producing some strong winds. Now, that's in Missouri, but I would probably have to bet within the next couple hours, this line here is probably going to get its act together just to our east and probably produce some damaging winds for, say areas north of Little Rock there, north central Arkansas, as this line's going to kind of congeal and work their way eastward. I know it doesn't look too impressive on Doppler radar right now. That's just because we're taking a look at Fort Smith's radar, and it has to shoot several thousand feet because the radar beam is slowly moving up at just a slight tilt. So by the time it samples this storm, it's several thousand, if not almost tens of thousands of feet in the atmosphere. Hopefully that made sense, but that's kind of what we're seeing, and that's kind of the line that we're going to be watching. And speaking of that line, if we get a little bit closer to home here, it's out of Carroll County. It's out of Madison County. I was checking some comments. Someone was wondering about Springdale, if they have to, stay up maybe late this evening. If you're in Springdale, if you're in Bentonville, Rogers, Fayetteville, we're good. Yes, it's raining right now. You're probably getting very strong winds. That's just because that cold front moved through. Same thing with Fort Smith. It's not raining currently. It's not raining in Sallisaw. It's not raining in Podalt. You're probably getting very strong winds associated on the backside of that cold front as it continues to push this line to the east. So if I draw the line out and almost kind of zoom in a little bit closer, like I said, it's out of Carroll County. It's pretty much out of Madison County. Basically, all we have to focus in on right now is Johnson County, Logan County, and Scott County with this line. So let's zoom in a little bit closer to our communities here and see what we're seeing out there from Ozark to Clarksville. Probably some strong breezy winds, right? As this line continues to at least mature a little bit, the greater severe weather risk is the further east you go, but this is going to be heading into Clarksville here within about the next 15, 20 minutes there. It's impacting the OR General Store there and parts of the Ozark Mountains there. It's east of Ozark now, probably still seeing some strong winds. Again, just because this line of storms passes you doesn't mean the wind's going to stop. You're going to have, occasional gusts of 40, 45 miles an hour, then, it might die off. That's kind of the nature of wind gusts out there, but that's going to be continuing to work its way into some of the higher terrain of Johnson County there, north of that I-40 corridor. This is impacting Coal Hill right now with some of those heavier showers and storms. So it's Johnson County. Let's go a little bit further south here into Logan County. Paris, you're getting hit right now. It's non-severe. You're probably seeing some breezy winds, some showers, some thunder, lightning with that. Mount Magazine State Park here in the southern part of Logan County. That's working its way eastward here. And if I continue to work our way southward, Boonville, you're pretty much in the clear. This line of storms is pretty much past you. Still going to be windy, still going to be breezy. Tate, you're getting a couple downpours. Same thing with our friends here in Waldron and Blansett there. We got kind of a, I guess, more of a intense kind of by Rich Mountain there in that Scott County line. It's non-severe. Again, I think I said non-severe about 20 times, but I'd rather say non-severe than severe. So that's good. So we don't have any severe warnings out there.
Noah, that brings up a good point. I said it a little bit earlier, but I know that some people, as we're scrolling, we see things from time to time at different times than maybe our neighbor would. So if you're seeing us here on Facebook, we're on 5 News Plus right now. We've been on 5 News Plus for a really long time. In fact, we do weather there 24/7. If you haven't checked it out, shameless plug, please go check it out. Great resource around the clock, rain or shine. Why are we here this afternoon? Well, there is a tornado watch for some of our counties continuing for a little bit longer. Our severe weather threat is low right now, but with showers and storms moving through, if you're hearing the thunder, you're seeing the lightning, the winds are picking up. It's not that anything's severe at the moment. We just wanted to be a place for you to go to find out what's up. Just to be a calm voice in the middle of a pretty strong cold front moving through. It's going to bring some big changes to the area over the next few hours. Temperatures are rapidly falling. So we're not here because there's any reason to be scared or alarmed. There is certainly some reason in Johnson, Scott, and Logan counties to stay weather aware for probably the next hour, 60 minutes or so. I think at that point we're done with storms. There's going to be some rain linger. There's going to be some snow showers for parts of the area overnight tonight. Winds are going to be up for all of us. But in terms of our severe weather window, I would say we've got about another hour to go before that really begins to just push off towards the east. Noah said it really well. Our main concern It does extend from southern Scott County into northern Johnson County. This broken line of thunder showers moving through. That's about it. Everything's below severe limits. No active warnings at the moment. So we're watching these to make sure they don't pulse back up. I'll tell you, we haven't seen any intensification with these cells. Over the last, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes, they're quickly progressing off towards the east. In fact, when I loop this, I'm just going to do a half hour, 30 minutes. You're going to get a pretty good idea of how quickly they're moving. I mean, they're making a lot of progress. In 30 minutes, this line of storms has gone from Pleasant, let's say Pleasant View, just west of Ozark, all the way to Coal Hill. In Paris, these storms in 30 minutes have gone, let's say, from Chalksville to Paris, which for a storm is a pretty quick speed, right? I know in terms of traveling via car, it's probably not all that impressive, but for storms, these are moving quickly enough. There is a stronger thunderstorm in Polk County, just to the south of the county line there between Scott and Polk. But there's really not a lot going on storm-wise. We love that. We're not complaining. Frankly, I'm going to regret saying this, aren't I? I think the odds of a severe thunderstorm warning for our viewing area within this next 60-minute window is probably relatively low. Can't rule it out, and that's why we'll stay here and be on top of things. But it really looks like our severe weather window is rapidly decreasing as the front is continuing to stabilize the atmosphere. You look at the storm fuel, and that's exactly where it is now. You can see how quickly that front has just erased it. I mean, it's just gone from relatively high to now we've got some lingering storm fuel in Johnson, eastern portions of Logan, far southeastern portions of Scott County, and that's it. So once we can get that front to nudge 20 or 30 more miles off towards the east, we're done. We're done with the storm potential for today. Of course, we'll have a lot of other weather to track with regards to this powerful front in terms of rapid temperatures dropping, wind chill values, snow showers, high winds, all of those things. But in terms of our severe weather window, if you're kind of wondering, okay, how much longer do I have to be weather aware? I think about another hour or so. Technically, you're going to see that tornado watch. When it was issued for a few more counties. For all the counties, though, until 9 p.m. tonight. We will not have that tornado watch until 9 p.m. They will cancel it early, as they've already done in Washington and Crawford counties. They canceled it earlier as that front progressed up towards the east. We still have a watch in Madison and Franklin. My suspicion is Madison, Franklin, and maybe Sebastian are next in line to be dropped off. That's a decision made by the Tulsa Weather Service, and they're pros at this, and we're happy to partner with them. I strongly believe we'll see all these watches canceled within the next 2 hours at the latest, at the absolute latest, maybe even sooner than that. We'll bring back Noah.
And that is certainly some good news as that line of storms continue to push its way eastward. If you're just joining us, or maybe have some friends or family in Little Rock, you got friends or family maybe in Searcy, I don't know, Mountain Home, Pine Bluff, Jonesboro. You got family into the central eastern Arkansas. This is the severe zone for the rest of today. You can kind of see basically our western side of the viewing region. This is the Storm Prediction Center's outlook. This got updated by probably about an hour ago as that line of storms is kind of pushing through. So yeah, you might see a thin green, maybe some yellow in parts of Carroll, Madison County. But I mean, if you're in Madison County, Carroll County, that line of storms is pretty much past you. We're basically just focusing in on the eastern half of Johnson County and the eastern half of Logan County and the eastern third, we'll say, of Scott County. That's the line of storms that has the greatest potential. But as Scott said, I mean, again, we don't want to jinx it or anything, but we will probably, I don't even know if I want to say and jinx it, but I mean, once these storms pass within the next 20, 30 minutes out of our viewing region, they're probably going to pass through our region non-severe, but as they work our way eastward into a little bit better environment, a little bit higher of a severe risk zone there by Little Rock, Jonesboro, it's probably going to be a big squall line here in probably the next 2-3 hours. So, I'll be doing the newscast tonight at 5:30 p.m., of course 10 p.m. I mean 5:30 p.m. when we show this radar again, the squall line is going to be well to our east. So let's jump back to radar, and let's just do a kind of a quick little sample of what we're going to be seeing out there. So we'll go a little bit further west here because we're a little bit too east. So here we go. Like I said, the eastern half of Johnson County, the eastern half of Logan County. Some people were wondering, how is Paris looking? I think Paris just got hit with this little line. It was non-severe. It probably packed some strong winds, some heavy rain, maybe some lightning. So let's zoom in a little bit closer here. So there's Paris. see the main lines just to our east. Continue to work its way eastward into places like Morristown, Scranton, Subiaco there as it kind of continues to kind of ride along the Arkansas River. Let's kind of focus a little bit on Clarksville right now because it's moved out of Coal Hill now, and it's going to be, in Clarksville pretty much right now. You're probably seeing some raindrops depending on where you live in the town there. Here's Scranton. It's impacting Scranton. Coal Hill, it's out of you. So again, as we've been saying, as this main line pushes its way eastward, we don't really have to worry about it. The severe weather threat gradually diminishes. In fact, some of our counties are going to end up getting trimmed as we work our way throughout time there. Let's go a little bit further south. We're focused here on Johnson County. Now we're getting into Logan County. There's Scranton. There's 109. There's Subiaco getting hit right now. It's going to be into New Blaine there in eastern Logan County there. There's the Arkansas River. We got the Arkansas Nuclear. I don't know what the last word says, but if you're in that vicinity, you know what it is. And this is by Cove Lake. There's Mount Magazine State Park. Might be a cool vantage point to maybe see the storms roll in, but I'm not sure if you want to be on the mountain when the storms roll in there. And here's Waveland there. So now we're outside of Logan County line. So here's the Logan County line. Now there's Waveland, Havana. It's technically outside our viewing region, but this is that line of storms. If we zoom out a little bit more, and maybe let's include Scott County here. That's where that line is. So it's east of Waldron there. Here's Scott County there. It's going to be knocking on Gravelly Store Step. There's Mount Magazine State Park. We'll zoom out a little bit more. If I were to draw this line from, say, south of Waldron and kind of all the way up through northern Johnson County, I'm going to do that right now. This is our main line that we're going to be watching still throughout the next half an hour to an hour. And if you're east of this line, we still gotta be on guard and talk about it. And even we'll watch this little cell just south and west of Waldron. We might zoom in on it. Scott, actually, I just see her walking back in. But yeah, we'll take a look at that. And actually, as I'm talking, we have a new warning, but that's actually south of our region. So that's in Pope County, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Scott, south of Scott County. And
this looks way far south.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be Sevier County, Arkansas.
Okay. So that's even south of Pope County.
That's right. It's going to stay south of Mena on that one.
Okay. Again, that's what we've been talking about, that line of showers and storms that we have to watch. And it's strengthened in south of Pope County. That's what that severe thunderstorm warning, that's that flashing warning, that flashing outline. So that line continues to strengthen its way eastward. We're still watching places like Clarksville, a place like New Blaine. If you're in Waldron or just east, if you're in Lavaca, Fort Smith, South El Podo, we're good. We're clear. It might still say a tornado watch, but I would suspect, and Scott's going to keep an eye on it too in the National Weather Service chat. Once some of our counties get dropped, such as Sebastian County, Logan County, Scott County, even LaFleur County, we'll let you guys know when the tornado watch is dropped, and hopefully calm any fears, any anxieties out there. It's going to be very windy regardless. We had another question about Paris. Here's Paris. The line has just it didn't miss you. It hit you, but it's just moving to your east. So if you're east of that line, this vicinity, we still got to be on guard. Just have a way of getting warnings just in case, these things get severe, just like this guy, right down here. That's south of our viewing region. Then we even have severe thunderstorm warnings in Missouri. So if I were to zoom out here and, we can really see, this line of storms there, kind of just south of the Interstate 44 corridor in Missouri. I know it doesn't look impressive right now. That's just because we're taking a look from Little Rock's radar, and it's so far away, so it doesn't really look that impressive. But we're seeing this whole line of storms, and I would be thrilled if the severe thunderstorm warnings missed us, to our south and to our north. I still want folks in the warnings to be okay and to take the warning seriously, but at least we're not seeing any currently in our viewing region. So if you have any more information to pass along, Scott, but we're probably going to be out of this here in probably 20 minutes.
I think so. In fact, that's kind of our footing right now, just for some housekeeping, how the next few hours will kind of go down for a lot of us. We're going to track these storms through Johnson, Logan, and Scott counties. That's our commitment to everybody, and we're proud to make that commitment to you this afternoon. They're behaving, so there's not really a lot to track, to be quite honest. In fact, if you're here on the stream at this point, I'm happy to share some inside baseball. What we call this internally here is babysitting the radar. making sure it just does what it's supposed to do, making sure those storms don't intensify or strengthen, and we'll continue babysitting the radar for a little bit longer until they're out of our area. As Noah mentioned, it's probably going to be here real soon. At that point, we'll send 5 News Plus back to its regularly scheduled programming, as well as the Weather Impact 24/7 stream. Again, that's also available on 5 News Plus. It also streams around the clock on YouTube as well. It has live radar. It's going to probably show some snow showers later tonight. Noah will be dipping in and out of the Weather Impact 24/7 stream as that happens. And of course, we keep you posted on weather models as they come in. We send it straight to you. It's live, it's instantaneous. So every time we get a new computer model in that shows Futurecast, the timing, the track, what's coming next, it actually goes straight to you. It's a great resource. When I'm at home and I don't want to log into my computer, I just pull up the 24/7 stream and see what's going on since I last checked. It also shows our cameras around the area. The big story is at this point transitioning from the severe weather potential. As we've discussed at length, it's diminishing quickly. That was low to begin with, diminishing quickly from there. The big story is going to be the winds. They're already howling around the area. In fact, it's been a minute since I pulled those up. Let me do that while I'm talking here. Those winds are high. They're going to stay high as the cold front continues to work its way through the area. Those winds are turning sharply right now out of the northwest. Trevor, we can take max 2 full if you want. As those winds are turning sharply, they're drawing in some very, very cold temperatures. That's going to result in wind chill values tomorrow morning, just bitter cold. We're talking the kids are going to need a few layers, the big heavy coats to be sure. Here's 7 o'clock tonight. If you had plans to run and grab some groceries after the storm's passed, you too are going to want the big heavy coat. It's going to feel like we're in the 20s across NWA and the River Valley, some mid 30s, but that's just the beginning. Watch what happens overnight tonight. Wow. We're waking up at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning to feels like temperatures in the single digits in northwest Arkansas, low to mid-teens in the River Valley at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Our day is going to be chilly. In fact, we'll go a little bit further. By noon, we're still going to be feeling like we're in the teens and low 20s. At the warmest part of the day, well, I went way too fast there. Pardon me, I'm doing this in real time. Middle part of the day, 4 p.m., when we are going to record our afternoon high temperature. It's going to feel, with those winds, like it's in the 20s across northwest Arkansas, low 30s in the River Valley. A very, very cold Monday ahead of us. By Tuesday, we're waking up in the similar temperatures, very cold on Tuesday morning. But then by the afternoon, we're starting to warm things back up. We're talking about a very strong cold front. This is one of the strongest we've had in quite some time. It's also accompanied by a very strong low pressure system. If you have an ache and a pain, there's a good reason why. One of the reasons is you probably stayed outside on Dixon late last night. The other reason perhaps is it's this low pressure system. Anytime we have low pressures come through, it's often associated with increased aches and pains. There's a lot of science that supports this. So if you felt this storm system coming over the last 12 to 18 hours, you're not wrong. If you've been grabbing the ibuprofen and the Bengay a little extra today, you're not wrong. It's this low pressure. Good news for us is, while we're kind of right on top of it right now, or it's right on top of us right now, it is quickly progressing towards the east. And so with that happening, pressure, the barometric pressure will be rising a little bit going into the evening and certainly by tomorrow. And you'll start to feel a little bit better. I'm no doctor, but there's some strong science that supports this. We'll go back to Noah.
Okay, yes. Again, I mean, those strong winds, I mean, we had a comment earlier saying it's very windy. Absolutely it is. I don't doubt that. And even with this line of storms, it's still going to be windy behind it, even since this line of storms is continuing to push its way eastward. I mean, if you're in Waldron, Ozark, Fort Smith, Salisaw, we kind of just go to home base, and we had some showers that move through northwest Arkansas. They're north of Huntsville right now into Eureka Springs there, kind of just west of Berryville. Some of those showers, those are non-severe, but you know, it's probably still raining, getting some light to moderate showers, but you still have, you know, some very strong winds, and at times you get gusts of 40, 45 miles an hour, and then just, you know, flies those raindrops, nails your window. Maybe it can sound a little loud out there, but overall, it's still this main line. And again, if I went to, Looks like something's been disconnected from my computer. But basically what we're looking at there is Doppler radar. And we're continuing to see that line of showers and storms. It's east of Carroll County. It's east of Madison County. If you're just now joining us, we've had one severe thunderstorm warning so far. That was in northern Washington County and southern Benton County. I'm doing some multitasking here.
I got you. I'm working on it.
So that was our own. Only severe thunderstorm warning. I'm just kind of checking some comments right now. One individual wants to know if there's any rotation in Scott County with that cell. So you know what? Let's just take a look at it, and let's go a little bit further south here, and let's just talk about it. My guess is probably not, but hey, let's just check on it because we just have we have a few more of those minutes to talk about as this line of storms kind of pushes in. So here's Y City, here's Bowles, here's 71 there. If I kind of look at some of the rotation right now, I'll go to storm relative velocity. Again, I wouldn't expect to see anything too much out of it. Some strong winds, but we're just not talking about rotation. So for whoever sent that comment in, hopefully calm your fears. We're not looking at any rotation with that system. Let's get back to reflectivity, radar reflectivity there, what you're used to seeing there. So some heavy rain there north of Y-70 along 71 up towards Waldron. That's continuing to push its way eastward there into Parks. Here's 28. 28 runs into 71. Some heavy rain, some thunder, some lightning. Let's zoom out a little bit more. Let's get a bigger picture on what's going on. Oh, let's redo that there. This line of storms probably moving through Clarksville right now as we speak, and even kind of by New Blaine. Let's go a little bit further north and zoom out. There's that severe thunderstorm warning that's south of Mena, south of Pope County. That's that's not in our jurisdiction. We don't have to worry about it, but that's mainly going to be for some of those strong straight line winds. Let's go a little bit further north here as that line of storms moves through eastern Scott County there. Again, if you're in Waldron, I mean, yeah, we're getting some light to moderate downpours there, but that's going to continue to push its way eastward there out of the county line. There's that line of storms. It's almost pretty much, it's moved through Boonville, it's moved through Paris there. Obviously, it's moved through Charleston. I mean, this is at New Blaine's doorstep right now. There's Clarksville, probably still raining a little bit heavy there in Clarksville. If you're in Johnson County there, we'll zoom in a little bit closer to Clarksville right now. We might have some folks watching from the Clarksville vicinity. Again, this is east of Coal Hill, so this is already past you guys. But if we take a zoom out, or excuse me, a zoom in a little bit more, yeah, if you're in the Clarksville town and maybe just east, seeing some heavy rain there along maybe 123 there, especially the east side of town there. I mean, we got the main Clarksville downtown area here. This is where the heaviest rain there is east. You kind of see the river there, Jamestown, the southern, in the lower part of your screen. There's Lamar, if I kind of back out. Lamar going to get in some heavier downpours, probably some strong gusty winds. Regardless, everyone sees strong gusty winds out of this as that front continues to push its way through. And let's kind of get a quick zoom out there. If you're in Fort Smith, in Van Buren, notice a few of these showers kind of popping up in Sebastian County. Again, we're not too concerned with it. I mean, this line of storms is kind of just eating up the energy and the storm fuel. And actually, within the last couple of minutes, this isn't in our region, but that severe thunderstorm warning has actually gotten issued for east of Carroll County, east of Madison County there, as that's probably going to be packing some damaging winds there. Again, that's east of our reviewing region, so that's good. Pretty soon here, probably once we get to 3:30, 3:40 this afternoon, we're almost at 3:30, this line of storms is pretty much going to be almost entirely out of our viewing region. And from there, we can pretty much talk about, going back to, the regular programming on 5 News Plus or wherever you're watching from. And then, the live stream will probably come to an end there. But, if I kind of go a little bit, actually, well, let's kind of zoom a little bit to the east here again. We got some light showers there. These guys we won't have to worry about there into Sebastian County, Crawford, Washington, Benton County. There's that severe thunderstorm warning. We'll take a look at it, just in case, because that's kind of, what this line's all about is these damaging winds, and it's continuing to strengthen as it continues to work its way eastward throughout time there. And let's kind of just zoom in a little bit closer. Again, this is out of our viewing region, but let's see who it's kind of impacting here. This is going to be for Yellville, Tomahawk. It's actually just east of Harrison. And here's Mountain Home. So if you're in Mountain Home, you got friends, family in Mountain Home. Maybe you're camping because it was a nice weekend, especially on Saturday. Might impact you guys. But overall, this is outside of our coverage area. It's east of Jasper, east of Harrison there. Let's kind of get back to home base. And we'll kind of just do, a little zoom in. Scott, if you have to jump in and interject here, feel free to. Yeah, I mean, again, we've had the tornado watch, and we can bring up the tornado watch real quick here, and I know some counties
No
are
changes yet.
okay.
I was just checking to see if they dropped anyone else. We're kind of itching for it, but the truth of the matter is, the threat's over. The tornado potential is over. While technically speaking, that watch is remaining in effect for now for some parts of the county area, our coverage area, I think by and large we're done. As that cold front continues to progress east, in fact, truthfully, I need to actually update this. It's very much brought a quick end to the severe weather potential across the overwhelming majority of our viewing area. In fact, that's truthfully a little bit closer to where we are right now. If you're west or behind the cold front, the only thing you got to worry about is not getting cold, because that's really all that's going to be happening. Cold and windy tonight. That severe weather potential is in Scott, Logan, and Johnson counties, and quickly it's really moving out of those areas. And so I'm very pleased with that. Sometimes people see us on the stream and wonder, why the heck are they on there? Is there something bad going on? Not really. In fact, we don't get the chance to be bearers of good news too often, but this afternoon into this evening, that's the case for us. These storms have by and large behaved. We did have some hail move through parts of NWA earlier, upwards of 1 inch in some locations. We did have some wind, gusty wind. I've got some reports of some signs blown over in the Fort Smith area, as well as maybe a tree down outside of Greenwood. Hard to say if that was thunderstorm related or if those reports were a part of just those non-thunderstorm winds that will continue picking up into the evening hours. But we're really kind of on the tail end of this. I think we're probably going to be here on this stream. Let's give this about 10 more minutes, and these storms are going to be outside of our coverage area, and we're going to pass the baton over to our sister station in Little Rock, KTHV. Of course, you can find them if you're in one of the areas that are just off to our east. We are acutely aware that a lot of folks in Russellville, as well as Dardanelle and Danville, watch us because we're able to give you an idea of what's coming your way before it gets there, as opposed to anyone else. So we're happy to do that for you. Right now, we're going to be sending you some non-severe thunderstorms that do have the potential of growing into severe thunderstorms. In fact, again, outside of our area, if you look into parts of Boone, Marion counties, this is far northeast Arkansas, near Mountain Home, South Fork, Tyre, West Plains, you've got a severe thunderstorm warning for you. Interestingly enough, on this one, it's warned for the potential of 60 miles an hour straight line winds, but they did include a tornado possible tag. That's something new the Weather Service started a few years ago. In the last couple of years, it's not a tornado warning. It is simply a saying of, we're going to give this the thunderstorm warning because we know that that threat is highest, but there is the potential of something to spin up. And interestingly enough, it does have a supercell structure to it. You start to find that little bit of a notch, a little bit of a hook there, decent updraft that's attributing to some hail potential right now, 3/4 of an inch. It's got the overshooting top, likely a nice little anvil there, some rear flank downdraft probably coming in on the back side of that. That's some scientific garbage just to say, yeah, it's worth watching. And if you're in Mountain Home or any of those locations included in that warning, we don't cover you, so I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to help you too much here. But it is a storm worth watching. And we knew that threat was going to really increase the further east these storms got. The latest, as Noah just showed you, we've canceled the severe weather threat almost entirely from Poto through Fort Smith, Sallisaw, Fayetteville, to Eureka Springs, and the west. Give it another hour or two when the Storm Prediction Center updates this, we're all going to be done. The severe weather threat is shifting to our east. We just wanted to be here as a resource since you kind of knew there were storms firing today that had that potential. We know that some people have some anxiety, and for many of us, good reason why. We've lived through some bad storms before, and so we just wanted to be a resource to give you an up-to-date, minute-by-minute explanation of kind of what's happening. And lately, we've not had a lot to talk about, which is a great thing. Noah and I can sit up here and just chit-chat all day long, but the fact is, severe weather, our chances are relatively low. These are nothing more than good old-fashioned gully washers, and we needed a little bit of rain. Wish we could have gotten some more out of this, but because they're moving so quickly, there's really not a lot of rain to get up from that. This is coming through New Blaine right now, Knoxville. Clarksville, we're done. It's windy. It's getting cold now in Clarksville and Scranton. but the severe weather threat is over for you. These storms are moving quickly out of our coverage area. If you know anyone fishing on Lake Dardanelle, they're near the nuclear plant. Not that, well, there's some people crazy enough to. I know a couple of fellas that very well could be out there. You got this storm coming through, probably go ahead and move towards land, not only because of the lightning, but of course the wind there as well. Pretty raw day to be out and about. Once this front passes you, temperatures are going to drop pretty quickly, and rain is going to come to an end, at least for a little bit. I think we're going to get some more precip later. Parks along Arkansas 28 in southeastern Scott County, southeastern of Waldron, moving towards Little Texas, Gravely. Nice good old-fashioned thunder shower. I know we got someone on the stream was asking about rotation a bit ago. I've been keeping an eye on that, and I've not seen a lick of rotation in it at all. And certainly at this point, I don't see anything that gives me any heartburn with this cell specifically moving through parts of Scott County. That does move over to Yell County here real soon. Of course, you guys in Yell County had a big surprise a couple of nights ago with that quick spin up tornado warning. I don't think I ever saw any reports of an actual touchdown, but I know that kind of came out of the blue for a lot of you folks there. This is it. This is exiting the 5 News viewing area. Rain may very well continue for a few more folks, but the severe weather threat is non-existent, and that is exactly what we want. We consider it a win every time we can get by without severe weather, and it looks like we'll have had minimal severe weather with this one. Did have the warning for Washington, Adair, parts of Benton County for that severe weather that moved through earlier. That did produce some hail, some large hail in some locations. Of course, I just mentioned briefly some of the wind damage in Fort Smith. Those hail reports, I think, interestingly enough, I think both of them came from myself and Joshua. Joshua took the yardstick out there and measured it. I just said, hey, nickel size. Nonetheless, got some of the reports that are going to show up here that have been populated by the Weather Service out of Tulsa. I think I can click on those. Yeah, I'm just doing this wrong. That was almost 1 inch in diameter hail that came through parts of Fayetteville, Johnson, Springdale. Springdale had a couple of waves of hail actually. And then there's the one I sent in right there about nickel size. So that was around 1:40 this afternoon. I know some other locations probably got some hail reports as well. Those will continue to populate some of those damaging wind reports as well. Noah, what do you say? You know, this is always it's always hard to say goodbye, especially since we've been here for so long. But the fact is, the severe weather threat is over, and our storms have almost entirely moved out of our viewing area. And so at this point, I think it would be worth our while to go ahead and end this stream. Noah's got the 5:30 show tonight here on 5 News Plus. And then maybe at that point we kind of we let you do some forecasting. You'll have some of your favorite type of weather coming through tonight. Noah's a big snow lover. He didn't get as much as he wanted to this year, but maybe you get a little dusting in parts of northwest Arkansas tonight.
I will say we are actually above average in terms of snowfall for this winter in both Fort Smith and Fayetteville. So while we only had one storm and it seemed like it was warm and dry the rest of the winter, I'll take it. I'll take a nice big snowstorm. Again, yeah, we're probably going to wrap this up here the next couple of minutes. I mean, here's really just one last check of a Doppler radar. You can't see those line of storms extending from just west of St. Louis, where my hometown is, all the way down through south central Missouri there. Kind of West Plains is here. Springfield, it's east of Springfield. It's severe warned. It's really to our east. It's basically just exiting Johnson County, exiting Logan County, and then still some heavier downpours there in Scott County. Scott and I kind of looked at rotation. We're not really too focused in on it. Really, the last thing I guess I'll say before we kind of just end the stream, and Scott will help me with that, is the good news is that once we kind of get past literally right now, we're not going to have to talk about severe weather for probably the next 7+ days. The weather pattern, and I'll talk about this tonight in the newscast, the weather pattern almost looks more like a typical summer-like weather pattern. We're going to have a big ridge dominating out west. That's going to prevent any big storm systems from really moving through our region. So, this upcoming week, Monday, it starts out very cold. You've probably seen that, but the end of the week, it starts out, or I guess it ends out very warm. It's sunny, it's dry. So we're definitely going to have a bit of a break, a bit of a lull from severe weather. It's certainly good news. I know we've seen some active marches in recent memory here across Arkansas, especially. So that's just some good news there. And definitely folks in Little Rock and Jonesboro got to be on guard as that line of storms continues its way eastward. But if you're in Fort Smith, Fayetteville, see some light showers. It's very windy with those non-storm winds, but overall, our severe weather threat potential is pretty much zero at this point as that line continues to push its way eastward. So I think with that, Scott, we can probably wrap the stream up unless you want to hold on for a few more minutes.
As I've seen these storms, they are, for all practical purposes, done, especially in terms of our viewing area and as well as the severe weather potential. So, yeah, for all of us here at 5 News, meteorologist Noah Simmons, myself, we want to thank you for joining us this afternoon, letting us be a voice and share this day with you and give you some insight as to what's happening. We know there's lots of options. One of those is the Weather Impact 24/7 stream. So if you're curious later tonight, you want to see live Doppler radar, in-depth analysis from NOAA, as well as around-the-clock weather. Literally, no matter if it's rain or shine, you can join us on 5 News Plus. That's our free app for your smart TVs. You can also get that on your smartphone by just downloading the 5 News app, clicking watch. That stream is literally around the clock, rain or shine. Our thought is the weather never stops, so why should we? We hope you'll join us there on 5 News Plus. For all of us here, and including our producer, Trevor, who kept things rolling for us today, we want to thank you. Hope you have a good Sunday. Stay warm. It's about to get very cold.